the Kurds and other Syrian democratic forces with whom we fought to defeat. Well, what are we to make of all this? Egemen Bağış is the former Minister for EU Affairs and President Erdogan's AKP party.
I guess everyone is confused, but knowing the political agenda in Washington, D.C., he needs different attractions to change the talking points of the country. So doing something of this sort, using Turkey as a leverage, might help him.
You say that Turkey has nothing against the Kurds, only against terrorists. Is it possible to differentiate between those Kurds who are allied to the PKK and others?
PKK is a terrorist organization, not only according to Turkish authorities, but also according to US authorities.
Indeed, but on the ground in Syria, is it possible to differentiate?
Of course, YPG, which the US unfortunately doesn't consider as a terrorist organization, is an element of PKK. They have the same ideology, they share the same offices globally, they have the same leadership. So it is PKK, and if the US and EU considers PKK as a terrorist organization, YPG is definitely a terrorist organization. We realize that in the past, US and some other allies have been supporting the YPG, they thinking that they could help in fighting against Daesh, but Turkey is willing to do that. Turkey is much more capable to deal with Daesh than a bunch of terrorists.
But the US president is right, then, to be concerned about the fate of Kurdish militia, Kurdish fighters on the ground in Syria if there is to be a US withdrawal of forces.
We have nothing against Kurds or Kurdish fighters if they are legal and loyal military of official states. We have no problems with Kurds of Syria. As a matter of fact, more than 500,000 of them have chosen to live in Turkey for the last 3 years because of the atrocities caused by the Assad regime. Turkey has 15 million Kurds of her own. We have nothing against the Kurds, but those Kurds who are exploiting Kurdish nationality and using terror as a means of their goals will be eliminated by Turkish forces.
When Ibrahim Kalin, who's a spokesman for President Erdogan, says Turkey expects the US to honour our strategic partnership and doesn't want it to be overshadowed by terrorist propaganda, is that strategic partnership all but in tatters now?
Well, every relationship has its ups and downs. It has its good days and better days. But as Churchill said, Americans always do the right thing after exploiting all the other options.
What do you think Turkey is likely to do?
Turkey will continue to honor her promises to her allies and to her partners in the region. We will fight against all kinds of terrorism. And if those terrorists are out of Turkey's way, if they move to other parts of Syria and be as far away from Turkey as possible, then our allies and our partners who are so much interested in protecting them can enjoy their company as much as they want.
So what you're saying is you don't want any kind of Kurdish autonomous region on Turkey's border with Syria?
We will not allow any other new state to emerge out of Syria because we believe in the territorial integrity of Syria and we will do whatever it takes to protect it, just like our allies and partners should do as well.
Former Minister Egemen Bağış there. It was -2 and snowing in Moscow today. Balmy by Russian standards, some might say. The Russian winters inspired so much wonderful music over the years, and this week on BBC Radio 3's Breakfast Show, every day between 8 and 8:30, the BBC's Moscow correspondent Steve